Well, welcome back to our video. We hope you guys are enjoying these. This week we have Regina's brother Scott is talking about his recovery from COVID, a very serious event he went through a couple years ago. Just let us know if you guys have any prayer requests. God bless you.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here. hides me in his wings. He wraps me in his love and stirs my heart to sing. My life is in his hands. He is my confidence. He keeps his promises forever and amen. He's gentle with my heart. He knows each tear I cry. There's healing in his scars for everyone of mine. My life is in his hands. He is my confidence. He keeps his promises forever and amen. I've never known a love like this before. Jesus, you're the one I'm living for. I've never known a love like this before. Jesus, you are the one I'm living for. My life is in his hands. He is my confidence. He keeps his promises forever and amen. Forever and amen. My life is in your hands. You are my confidence. You keep your promises forever and amen. My life is in your hands. You are my confidence. You keep your promises forever and amen. You keep your promises forever and amen.
It's Regina and Chris again. We're here with Scott Elder, my brother, and he went through quite an ordeal in September of 2021, and he's here to talk about that today and how God changed his life. Why don't you begin with kind of what happened, Scott?
Well, before that event, I had been to the fair, I think, earlier that week, and then I started feeling kind of funny and didn't feel right, and so did my wife and my daughter, and we all got checked out. Well, actually, she did first, and found out she had COVID. So then I said, well, maybe I should check, and then I found out I had it too. So, I was kind of separating myself from the rest of the family, and we were all just kind of trying to get over it. And I had fever and whatnot, and all, but nothing really bad. But then I went to sleep, I guess Thursday night, and the next thing I remember, the EMTs was standing over me and poking me and prodding me and shining the lights in my face and everything, and I guess I wasn't really having much of it. I was trying to fight them off or something. But anyway, next thing I know, I'm loaded up on a gurney and I'm headed up the stairs from my man cave because it's down in the basement. So they're giving me oxygen and all this, and And I guess Charlene followed them. My wife followed them down to the hospital. It's from Rose Hill to St. Francis Hospital. So pretty good little trip. Got in there, and then they started putting me on oxygen, and I think it was like 40% oxygen or something like that. And they said that I was in pretty bad shape. Apparently, my O2 levels when they had checked me that morning was in the 40s. I think it was 46 or 7 or something like that. And they were kind of amazed that I didn't have brain damage or something like that. I didn't know how long I had been you know that low on the O2 levels, but my wife had got up earlier that morning, and I don't know what she was doing, but she found me there. I guess I was making kind of weird noises or whatever, and she shook me, and I was unresponsive. So that's when she called my sister Regina and said, "Call the ambulance. Something's not right." And so anyhow, I went to the hospital later that morning. And that first day, they told me that I had COVID pneumonia, and I was obviously scared, because I didn't want to get put on a ventilator. I've heard about people did that, and they didn't make it. And Dad had died earlier that year. In fact, in February, from the very same thing. And so I was, concerned would be an understatement, But I remember, even though I was scared and what have you, I prayed and I'd asked God if He would please let me get out of this hospital and go home and see my family. And I also knew, I prayed too, I said, but, if that's not meant to be and, you're ready to take me home, I know that, either way, I'm going to be okay. But I'd really like to get out of here and go see my family. So the first day, like I said, was kind of rough, and I was worried about all that. Second day, my oxygen started increasing a little more, and then they were able to decrease the amount of oxygen I was on. I think I went from 40 liters to like 35 or 30, and then each day it would drop a little more. They got down to like 20 liters they was putting me on, so they got me out of ICU. I believe that was because I went in on Friday, and by Wednesday of the following week, I think they had moved me to a regular room, where it wasn't out of ICU anyhow. And so, the Lord was answering my prayer and all those who've been praying for me. And so then it just continued to get better. And then at that point, I was kind of going stir crazy. I wanted to get out of there. But one of the nurses had told me that most people that, I'm kind of a miracle because most people don't make it through what you made it through and recover so fast um, without getting brain damage or something like that. And so, I mean, they had me up, I believe it was Thursday night, walking around in the floors of the hospital to see if I could, walk without getting, needing oxygen, to have me off the oxygen there to see how far I could go. And I made it about halfway down the hall, and I started breathing heavy, and they gave me the oxygen again, and anyhow, they went ahead, like they got me down to 2 liters of oxygen when I left the hospital on Friday, and they sent me home with oxygen, and I stayed at home, and Lord delivered on His promise and brought me home. But I wasn't out of the woods, and by no means at that point. I mean, I still had to, continue to do my breathing exercises and all that, to make sure and take the medicine they gave me to clear up my lungs. But I was doing everything I was supposed to do. They had me do physical therapy. People come by, and I was on oxygen right about a month after I got out of the hospital. But they would tell me that, out of all their patients, I was the one that was recovering the fastest. I was, really doing a great job of recovering. And that's just, the Lord just worked all that out and got me through all that and got me strong again. And through all that, I don't have any uh, long COVID like you hear people talking about. I don't have breathing problems. I don't have any brain damage or anything like that. It definitely changed my attitude about things. Like I got a second lease on life, if you will, And I, I got a little bit more involved with church after that, and kind of seen and dealt with things a little differently than I had before. Wasn't as quick to get angry about things, and just kind of appreciated being alive. And so that's pretty much.
Do you feel like God was with you through the times where you were in the hospital and you couldn't be around anybody? Do you feel like you were alone, or did you?
Yeah, I felt like He was there with me. I mean, like I would. It's hard to sleep in there, but I had to sleep on your stomach and turn around and do this and that and the other because of your lungs and all. But before I went to sleep, I sometimes I felt a little anxious, if I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and this type of thing, and but I knew that God had it, under control, and whether He brought me home or not, because Dad had passed away, like I said, at several months earlier in February, and you know, I'm like, well, He's either going to get me through this, or I'm going to be up, join Mom and Dad, up there in heaven. So.
What would you say to somebody who's going through some type of situation with their health or with anything that maybe they feel alone, or any recommendations for them?
Well, I mean, I would, talk to God about it and tell Him your concerns and your fears, and He knows those things before you even say anything. But and ask to have a calm, and a peace, to get you through it. And, then you'll get this calm and assurance and peace, like, he's gonna get me through this, one way or the other. If it's not my time, then I know that I'm gonna get out of here and I'll walk out of here, and or whatever it is you're facing, and He'll get you through that. But also have the assurance to know if God if He wants to call you home and it's your time, if you're His, you got nothing to worry about, nothing to be afraid of, because you're after your last breath you'll be in heaven. So for the believer, death is it's nothing really to be afraid about. It's just graduating into the next want to say next life, but to your eternal home, but yeah, if you just whatever you're going through, you just pray about it and ask God to give you the the assurance and the peace of mind, and then all the fear will be gone. And when I was up there by myself, like I said, I had doctors all over, all dressed from head to toe, and like a hazmat suits, and all. And that's kind of a scary feeling because none of my family could be around me, And I'm like, I don't want to die in this hospital and all alone, and everything. And I felt, how Dad must have felt, I mean, earlier on he couldn't have family around him, And so I just, asked God to help me out and get me through it. And I just asked Him, would you, I'm asking you, would you get me out of here and get me home to my family? And I prayed that every day, and He did. He delivered on His promise. So.
All right, very good. Well, we're glad that you made it through, that is for sure, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, your perfect love is casting out fear. And even when I'm caught in the middle of the storms of this life, I won't turn back, I know you are near, and I will fear no evil, for my God is with me, and if my God is with me, whom then shall I fear? Whom then shall I fear? Oh no, never let go, through the calm and through the storm. Oh no, never let go, every high and every low. Oh no, never let go, Lord, never let go of me. And I can see the light is coming for the heart that holds on. A glorious light beyond all compare. And there will be an end to these troubles, but until that day comes, we'll live to know you're here on the earth, and I will fear no evil, for my God is with me, and if my God is with me, whom then shall I fear? Whom then shall I fear? Oh no, never let go, through the calm and through the storm. Oh no, never let go, every high and every low. Oh no, never let go, Lord, never let go of me. Yes, I can see the light that is coming for the heart that holds on. There will be an end to these troubles, but until that day comes, still I will praise you, still I will praise you, singing, oh no, never let go, through the calm and through the storm. Oh no, never let go, every high and every low. Oh no, never let go, Lord, never let go of me. And I will fear no evil, for my God is with me, and if my God is with me, whom then shall I fear? Whom then shall I